Now we will see the next topic, which is withholding tax. We have two types of withholding tax. One is you post withholding tax during invoice creation, which is invoice posting, and the other type of withholding tax is calculated and posted during invoice payment posting. Okay, but normally withholding tax is only applicable for vendor invoices, so that's why we don't have a withholding tax topic under the accounts receivable module. Okay, so in the withholding tax is found under accounts payable. We will see both type of withholding tax during invoice posting and payment posting. Now we will see withholding tax during invoice posting first. Okay, let me show you some things. Okay, you need to configure the system for withholding tax. Firstly, you will come to financial accounting, new, financial accounting global settings, new, withholding tax and extended withholding tax. Okay, just take note that under withholding tax you have two tax of withholding tax that you can configure. One is the basic or classic withholding tax, and the other one is extended withholding tax. Normally we will choose extended withholding tax, so just don't bother about this classic or basic withholding tax. Just straight away use this extended withholding tax, because all the implementations will only use extended withholding tax. So it's just for your information that there is a basic withholding tax as well, but we are not going to use it. Now under the extended withholding tax we have basic settings, calculation, company code and postings. Let me just explain the structure of withholding tax and how it's linked to the vendor, so that you will get a rough idea on how to configure this. Let me explain this using a slide. Okay, this is how the withholding tax type and tax code is linked to vendor master data. Withholding tax type is actually a code which will hold some information about the withholding tax, and the withholding tax code is also another code which will hold the balance information of withholding tax. We will see what these two codes will hold actually. Now there's one more thing. The withholding tax type and tax code should also be assigned to the the company code, so that both the withholding tax type and tax code will be available in the vendor master data. Alright, let me just show you that to you. What I'm going to do is I'm going to define the withholding tax type first. It is over here, extended withholding tax. Come under define withholding tax type for invoice posting, and define withholding tax type for payment posting. Since earlier I told you that the two types of withholding tax, one is during invoice posting and the other one is during payment posting. So accordingly we can find two different screens for us to define the tax types. So since we are doing the tax posting for during invoice posting, we will choose this. Enter the country key, which is US, and you will see all the withholding tax types created for country US. We'll create a new one now. Just give it a code. You can define up to two codes. I am going to say one, a simple code, WHT of 5%. With WHE stands for withholding tax. Okay, 5%. I'm going to create a 5%. All the other settings you can accept the default settings. Alright, you don't really have to modify unless your implementation really requires it. Let me just explain one important thing, one important parameter, this base amount calculation. If I choose net, means only the balance amount after deducting the tax will be considered as a base amount to calculate the 5% here. So for example, if you have $1,000 invoice and a tax of $20, 1000 minus 20 is 980, so 980 is a net tax amount, and the 5% of WHT will be applied on the 980 and not on 1000. That's what this net amount means. If you want to apply the WHT of 5% in the gross amount, which means $1,000, 980 plus 20 tax $1,000, then you choose this. Okay, this is our single most important parameter in this tax type definition. Otherwise, just save it, just accept the default settings, go back. Now you have defined the tax type. Now we're going to define the tax code. Okay, let me go back again. So over here, withholding tax code, just beneath the tax type, click this, again enter country code US, new entry. You have to choose the tax type that you defined earlier, which is 1, just choose it, and the tax code you have to give a new tax code, just give WH or W1 will do. Okay, and just put in WHT 5%. Alright, percentage subject to tax is, remember I told you, let me just write here, if your invoice amount is 1000, out of which is 980, sorry, let's say 980 is the invoice amount and tax is $20, which means the invoice total is 1000, right? So in this case, percentage subject to tax is the percentage. Remember, we entered the net amount, we defined net amount in the tax type screen, so that the 980 will be taken into consideration for the WHT percentage and not the 1000. So out of this 980, you can actually further specify what percentage of amount that will be subjected to tax. If you want all the 980 to be subjected to tax, just put 100% here. But if you want only 50% of 980 to be subjected to tax, then you can enter 50% here. If you enter 50%, what will be tax is the 50% of 980, which is about 4, let me just check how much is 50% of 980 will be 490. So only 490 will be taxed, and the tax rate is 5%, right? Our WHT tax is 5%. So let me calculate. So the tax amount for withholding tax will be $24.50. If I enter 100%, then the whole of 980 will be taxed by 5%. So the tax rate will be $49. Alright, that's the purpose of this screen here, this field here. So I'm going to put 100%, and this posting indicator is another important field. You need to choose the first one, standard posting. Okay, just remember to select the standard posting. The other two options are for different countries like France or Germany. Well, depending on the country that you are doing the implementation, you may have to choose posting indicator 2 or 3, which means that 2 will post the withholding tax in a different way than 3. But normally we will choose only posting indicator 1, which is applicable for all the countries in the world. Just proceed to choose posting indicator 1, and this is the place where we define the tax rate for WHT, withholding tax. The tax rate that I wanted is 5%. Alright, and that's about it. I can go ahead and save it. So we have tied the withholding tax code to withholding tax type in the screen. Alright, this is the one. Withholding tax type has been tied to withholding tax code. When you save it, both are linked. Withholding tax type is linked to tax code. Alright, we are done with it. Now let us go to company code. Let me close this. Under the company code section, we need to assign the withholding tax types to company codes. Okay, that will come somewhere here. Just hang on. Just position to Sun company code. It's not there, so we'll create a new entry, call up the Sun company code, and assign the tax type, withholding tax type of 1. Right, and you have to check this withholding tax agent. Only then the tax will be calculated for all the invoice postings. If we do not check this, the withholding tax will not be calculated. Let me just remove this first and save it so that I can show the difference. Now data was saved, so we have assigned the withholding tax type to company code Sun. So let me draw this here. Withholding tax type should be assigned to company code. Right, something like this. This will not be correct. Let me draw something like this. Okay, let me explain. Withholding tax type should also be assigned to the company code. Alright, so that's what we're going to do now. Using this step here, it's already done, right? We did it just now. Let me just open it up and show it to you. So the company code Sun has been assigned with withholding tax type of 1. So the last step in configuring withholding tax is activating the withholding tax for company code Sun. Just position to Sun and just press this tick mark. Only then it will be activated. Alright, if we do not activate it, let me just show you what will happen. The two things I did not do, I did not activate the withholding tax for company code Sun. Alright, and I have not specified that company code Sun should deduct the withholding tax for vendor invoice postings, because I did not check this. So I'm going to show you what will be the impact if I don't do these two checkings. So the other thing that now we have to do is, let me just save this. Withholding tax for invoice postings. The other thing I haven't do yet is the assignment of withholding tax type and withholding tax code to vendor master. Let us do it now. Go to FK02 to change the vendor master and choose any vendor. I'm going to choose this vendor. I'm going to and then tick the withholding tax tab and press enter. See, it says extended withholding tax functionality is not active. If I open this up, it says that you have selected withholding tax screen. This can however not be displayed since the extended withholding tax functionality is not active for the selected company code. This refers to the activation over here. Alright, once again under the company code section, just go and tick it so that we don't get an error message anymore. Save it. Just ignore the message. Now it's saved. Okay, saved. Let us go back to the screen. Okay, now we will see whether we will be getting this error message again or not. Quit the screen. K02 40001 withholding tax. Tick it again, then press enter. Now you can go in. Alright, so once you check this checkbox, alright, once you check this checkbox for that particular company code, the error message is gone. So now all you have to do is just call up the withholding tax type, which is 1, and withholding tax code, which is W1, and just tick this checkbox here to make sure the withholding tax can be deducted. If you do not tick the checkbox, the withholding tax will not be calculated when you post the invoice. Let us save this. Press enter. Now it's saved. Now we go to FB60 to post the invoice. So the withholding tax will not be calculated yet because of one reason. Is because we have not checked this checkbox yet. Remember this one. Let me just show to you. Invoice date, and I put 1000 here. I will not calculate any taxes, and I'll choose the cost of sales account, which is the laptop, 1000, and then I simulate now. Press enter to proceed. See, the withholding tax is not calculated. Okay, let us go here and check this check box and then save. The system is asking you to define a period for deduction. This is the two fields using which we can define the period. This means that once you define a period here, only for that period the withholding tax will be calculated for any invoices posted for this vendor. So I'm going to specify a period 15th May from today until forever. So if you want to specify forever, just change this to 9,999. So this year is forever, as you know, right? Or you can even specify a legitimate end period. So the withholding tax will only be calculated for any invoices, vendor invoices posted during this period. Just press enter. Enter again. Now it's saved. Let us go back. You need to quit, exit editing, yes, so that it refreshes the screen. Now you come back and do the same thing again, and we will see whether the withholding tax will be calculated this time or not. 1000, cost of sales is laptop, 1000. I remove the tax. Oh, you have to remove here too. Yep, simulate now. Simulate. See, the withholding tax has been calculated, but there's one more thing you need to do. This is going to 9000101 because of this thing here. Posting, define accounts for withholding tax to be paid over. This is the place where you define just enter the Sun chart of account, to which GL account the withholding tax should be posted to. Just now I have entered 9000101. That's why it's being posted to this. Let us create a separate account for withholding tax so that it's more clear. FS00. Withholding tax is a liability account because you withhold the tax to be paid to the government. So it's not an income, it's not an expense, it's an amount that you owe to the government. So it is a liability account. Let us see. Okay, our liability account has got a series of 3. Let me just double confirm this. Let me go to PRO. Double confirm so that I don't create a wrong range of liability account, master data, GL accounts, and preparations, edit, define account group, position to sun chart of accounts. Over here, okay, current liability, long-term liability. Okay, we treat it as a current liability. It doesn't really matter long-term liability or current liability, since we pay the tax amount to the government every month. It should be current liability. So I'll choose the 4 series. Okay, we should create account under the 4 series, FS00. Oh, sorry, I need to put a /n FS00. Now let me see what is the 4 series available. Available 4 series is 40002. Okay, let me just choose 2, press enter. Does not exist, yes, press enter, and choose create, and choose current liability, and it's a balance sheet account, WHT withholding tax. Okay, just copy, paste here, withholding tax, create bank interest, just choose liability, field status group. Let's see whether we have anything or not. Now we can just choose general, doesn't really matter. Okay, just choose general account, save, press enter. Okay, now I just copy this and I go back here and I paste the 40002, the new account that we created, save it. Just bear in mind, sometimes when you open this screen, you'll come here first. You won't come direct to accounts, this screen. You might see this screen here. So all you have to do not panic, just click this accounts button here so that you can come here to see the accounts. But before you come to that account screen, the system might ask you to save this entry. Just press save once and then go to accounts. So you'll see this, and then enter the thing, enter the GL account, and then press save. So let us simulate again now. Where is our vendor invoice? Over here. I think I have to quit first so that the whole thing can be refreshed. Just choose 4001 1000 GL account COS, cost of sales. Just remove the tax. Okay, remove the tax. Yeah. Now we simulate again, press enter. Press simulate again, press enter. Alright, you see this? Now the posting can go to 40002 account, the special account that we created for withholding tax. We have $50. Alright, so since we have also specified, sorry, not this one, this checkbox here, withholding tax can be calculated. See this? Alright, these are some of the important things you need to check. If you have defined all the withholding tax configuration and still the system does not calculate the withholding tax, there are 3 things that you have to check. The first one is this. Alright, make sure this is checked, and the other one is this one, activate extended withholding tax, whether the company code has been activated for withholding tax. Make sure this is checked. And the third one is the most important one, is check whether in the vendor master the liable field is checked, otherwise you won't calculate also. See this? Let us try something here. I just remove the liable checkbox and save it, and I'm going to quit this, see whether the system calculates the withholding tax this time. So I'm going to select 4001. I'm going to put invoice date and 1000. Cost of sales is laptop 1000, and I remove the tax. I remove the tax from here too, and simulate. Press enter. Simulate again. Press enter. See, it doesn't calculate the withholding tax anymore because of this thing here, FK02. I have removed the checkbox here. So to calculate the withholding tax again, just check it again, save it, press enter again, saved. Now you quit and you create the invoice again. This time it will be calculated. 4001, 1000, remove the tax, cost of sales 1000, simulate, enter. See, it's calculating now. Alright, you can also see one more tab, this one here, where the tax information will be calculated. Withholding tax. See this, withholding tax is calculated. Alright, let me go to withholding tax tab here. You see this? Under the withholding tax tab, if we do not like the tax which is calculated by the system automatically, let's say for whatever reason, let me go back again to withholding tax. This 5% is calculated, right? So the vendor, even though the vendor invoice is 1000, we only pay 950 to the vendor. Alright, we pay only 950 to the vendor, and we withhold $50 with us to be paid to the government, and then we post the total invoice amount to the cost of sales account, which is one laptop. Alright, even though the invoice amount is 1000, what the vendor will be getting is only 950, and the remaining 50 will be withheld by us. This is what it means. For whatever reason, if you don't like the auto calculation of withholding tax by the system, which is 50, let's say you want to calculate 100 instead of 50, you want to withhold $100 on the fly, then you don't have to change the tax code, tax rate in the configuration. One way is you come here, you change the withholding tax code 5% to 10%, but this will require configuration. You don't want to change the tax rate for the tax code. You just want to apply a withholding tax of $100 for this invoice in particular without changing the tax code. So all you have to do is come to the withholding tax tab, come back from simulation and come to withholding tax tab and enter 100 here. Alright, withholding tax amount that is manually computed, which is 100, and simulate. The system will ask you to enter withholding tax base amount. It says withholding tax amount is entered manually, base amount must also be entered. Base amount meaning that based on which amount that you calculate this $100. We calculate the $100 based on the invoice total, which is 1000. So just enter 1000 here and then simulate again, press enter. See, withholding tax is entered manually, which is 100, and the vendor payable is reduced accordingly, 900, and the cost of sales laptop remains the same, 1000. This is how you have changed the withholding tax amount on the fly when you post a document without changing the tax rate set up in the tax code. Alright, we can just post this now. Okay, the document has been posted. Let us see the document display. percent. Why it is showing this? Let's press enter. Alright, this is the document that we posted just now. It's under document number 190008. So withholding tax is posted to this account, and what is due to the vendor is only 900, even though the total invoice amount is 1000. So later on we will pay this withholding tax amount to the government